talk about creating and maintaining a great relationship between a landlord and a tenant. It's a landlord's job to do that, it's a tenant's job to do that, and it serves both of their interests to have a great relationship, which is based on decent expectations and each party knowing their rights and their responsibilities. Let's start with a landlord. If you're a landlord, to be a great landlord is very important. Being a landlord is similar to having a business. The tenant is your customer. There should be customer service involved. If your tenant is not happy, your business is not happy in the long run. When your tenant vacates the property, remember, there's always a vacancy period. What you need is a great tenant that stays there for long. So, start by the price. When you're renting a property, try to rent it for a reasonable rate. Trying to rent a property for higher than the market price regularly keeps your property on the market for longer, which kills the excess of money that you can make in the increased price you do most of the time. At the same time, you will have a tenant who feels or will feel one day that he's overpaying, which makes the tenancy non-sustainable. Build a relationship. Whenever you have a tenant in a property and you reflect the right kind of expectations to the tenant, you give him exactly all his rights and you stand exactly for all your liabilities and responsibilities, you will have a great relationship with the tenant, which means there's no disputes. Disputes cost money and are never a fair game and are never a profitable game for a landlord or a tenant or any two people in business. And here you're in business with your tenant. Now, clear agreements. Have a clear agreement. Clear to the tenant before you lease the property to him, and preferably in the contract, or actually legally in the contract, exactly what is expected of him on entrance, within the tenancy period, and on vacating. And let the tenant do the same with you. If those are clear on paper, then you have a great relationship, and this is exactly what you need. Servicing. Make sure you service your property pre-entry of the tenant to the best of your knowledge, and make sure that you do all through the tenancy proactive rather than reactive maintenance. Have a maintenance contract if you can, that's better. And when you maintain your property the right way, you'll make sure that the tenant will also take care of your property. And that means that you will have a property that will live longer in a much better state. And major works in the property will not be needed. Now, if you're a tenant, the landlord have done his responsibilities, and the landlord have treated you fairly and have done perfectly what's right. Let's look at you as a tenant. Now, if you're a tenant, you need to move in. When you move in, you're getting the handover of the property in a perfect condition. The landlord have taken care of all details needed. While you're moving out, remember, you should do the same. Make sure that your move out is a high quality move out where the property is taken back to its original condition to be handed over back to a landlord who can, by himself, hand it over to another tenant. Account transfers. When you moved into the property, you've connected your DIWA, your due, your utilities, all utilities connected, as well as done your ijari. When you're exiting, you will need to do the disconnections and you will need to cancel your ijari. Make sure that you do cancel your ijari, otherwise the new landlord or the tenant will have the headache of doing that. Remember, the fair relationship runs both ways. When you moved in, I'm sure the landlord have assisted you with all of those, and this is a great landlord servicing a great tenant. Move out permit. Remember, when you're moving in, you always need to make sure you get the NOCs from the landlord and you check with your building concierge or security what is needed to move into the property so that you won't be shocked in on the day of move. So don't go ahead and book your moving company without doing any checks on that and assume that you can move in on a Friday without any deposit. Regularly, some buildings or most buildings do have a deposit that they take to make sure that your movers and your workers do not damage the common areas, which are owned by the sum of all owners in the building and are the responsibility and the liability of all owners as well. So while you're moving out, get a move out permit, cancel your ijari, restore property to its original condition, collect your deposit from the landlord. You're a happy tenant, he's a happy landlord. This is us today talking about how to create and sustain a great relationship between landlords and tenants. It's never advisable to have a dispute. No dispute is profitable. It's so much money and so much energy for something that isn't needed. Enjoy your day and work with each other as great landlords and amazing tenants.